put a little bit of clay on where my oval hole from the bat will go. Alright. And remember, you can't really see the concentric circles, so if you need to, you can just kind of draw a little line there. Grab my 4 pounds. That's already been pre-wedged. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to put my bevel in. And let's start wedging on the wheel. Wheel's acting. There we go. All right. Okay. So yeah, you still want to make sure that your elbows are anchored. And just wedge on the wheel. And I think it's important to do this several times to train the clay. Okay. And you know, when I say wedging on the wheel, it's important to also wedge the clay before you wedge on the wheel. All right, so I am making a plate, which means that when I get this centered, it needs to have a fairly large base, larger diameter, because we're making a more horizontal form. So this time, I'm try and center. Oh, I got lucky again with having a warped board. Ay, ay, ay. So we talked a little bit about how that oval opening can give you some trouble with the centering. So I try to just push down instead of pushing this way as well. Wow. Yeah, this is going to be a little trickier with this. It seems a little more warped than the other one. Let's try it anyway. Okay, so let's get this thing opened. Start with a divot. And let's check and see how thick it is. There's beautiful. Just to know what we're up against here for starters. That's a little more than an inch. I'm looking for a thickness of about that. Just so that as I explained earlier, with these more horizontal forms, it's really important to have enough clay so while it's shrinking and moving, all those little moving parts stay together. Press the lip. My wheel's being so cooperative today. And remember, it's really important that you are stabilizing your arms on your legs. Alright, so now the compressing begins. If I can find my rib. There it is. Alright, so I've got my trusty green rib here, and I'm just going to start compressing the clay. Back and forth. As I said in the other demo, it's most of your time is spent compressing. Don't hypnotize yourself. Or if you do, hypnotize yourself in a positive way. I'm gonna make 10 more plates than I need to for my A. There we go. Okay. So then I'm gonna grab my sponge and let's start working on these walls. Okay, add a little water to avoid friction. And before we were starting in the center, at this point, because we've done so much ribbing work, I'm going to start here and just start bringing up those walls. It's important to compress. Sometimes I like to try and bring some of this clay up. It's really important to refine the area of the lip that's going to be near the anchors during this part of the process, because you're not going to be able to access it much when you have those anchors in and you're trimming. Okay, so let's see if I can find my little green rib again. I know, it's like, why don't you just put it in the same place, Judge? Come on. Alright, so I'm going to clean my salt rim. It's a little fast. Gotta be careful with speed. You don't want your rim to fall. Alright, so let's do some more ribbing here. Back and forth. Very important part of the process. Okay. Let's see if we can get this rim to clean up for us using the rib. Then I'm going to grab my chamois. Oh, there it is. Everything's the same color now. Right. Compress. Let's do another round of ribbing. Make sure it's clean. So this is kind of our last round of ribbing, so it needs to look good this time. And, you know, I think it's kind of a nice way to, the spiral, if you have little traces of it left, I think is okay. I think it makes kind of what would be a flat area of your vessel. It gives it a little spring, makes it a little more interesting. Okay, and then let's just rib the rim out one more time. And we don't want this to be too sharp, so just, here we go. Let's see what we got. Looks pretty good. Yeah. Let's see. Maybe we can clean this up just a little bit. If my wheel will let me. I know. It's like my grandma pedal down there. All squeaky. Alright. So we want to clean this up at the bottom as much as possible. Mostly we're looking to have a nice round edge so that it's easier to recenter and do some trimming. I'm going to put some water on the outside here. And I'm going to use my wire tool. This is the first of 3 times that I'm going to wire this off. So 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to continue. Oh, I got a little boogie there. I'll get that later when it's not as wet. I'm going to wire this off again in about an hour, and then again in another couple hours. With these more horizontal forms, they have a tendency to reattach themselves to the base. So that's all I got.
Cool.